Good evening.
This meeting is being held in accordance with the Sunshine Law, notice having been published according to law with a copy on file in the city clerk's office and a copy posted on the bulletin board in City Hall.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Here.
Councilmember Sims.
Here.
Councilmember Greenman.
Here.
Mayor LaBrus.
Here. Would everybody please rise for the flag salute? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. There are no minutes to approve tonight. We'll go right into the city manager's report. Unfortunately, Mr. Rottino is home ill. Filling in for him is Mr. Art Costa.
Thank you, Mayor. First off, snow removal, updated totals. We have, so far this year from January 1st, we've spent $240,000, and that's encompassing a lot of line items, overtime, and also salt we purchased. A comparison to actually 2013 and 14, that was the winter season of 258,000. So we're comparable.
Okay.
Hopefully that'll be the end for the season, I hope.
We hope so, too.
I'd also like to congratulate Police Director Mordega and the Hackensack Police Department on the recent drug raid. They've really done a wonderful job and deserve a lot of credit, and I'm glad I can go home and sleep at night. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Regarding street paving and pothole repairs, I'd just like to let everyone know the pothole number for the DPW is 201-646-8058. If there are any issues or if any residents see a pothole that needs repair, a phone call would definitely be of help to the DPW to have it taken care of.
Okay.
And fourth, our reverse 911. We did get some complaints about late phone calls, but that was our first time using it. We'd like the residents to know the availability of signing up for actually 3 options: Nixle, reverse 911, or email blast. They're all on the Hackensack website on the front page. We had a meeting with DEP, a meeting is scheduled for April 1st, and that's regarding the flooding issues down at the southern end of town.
Okay.
By Brosers Creek. Mr. Rottino met with United Water today, actually, regarding Cedar Avenue and that water main break. He had a meeting, and from what I understand, he told me that he has to forward further information to another representative from United Water, and we're waiting for a response from that.
Okay.
We will be starting twice a week collection, garbage collection, starting March 17th. That will not affect recycling at all. It's purely for garbage collection. Rubbish collection will also stay the same, but we'll be collecting twice a week. Notices will be put on the actual garbage carts for the residents to know. It'll also be put on the website, and we'll try and get some other email blasts out regarding the same. Okay, and that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk, we'll go to resolution number 91-14. I'm sorry, 90-14. Oh,
The presentation.
oh, the presentation, that's right, sorry. We got the good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a presentation to make tonight. Would Alexis Palinkas please step up to the dais? Hi, Alexis, how are you? See you.
Thank you.
We have a certificate of appreciation from the City of Hackensack, the Mayor, and the City Council, presented in recognition of your service and dedication as a member and chairperson of the Condominium and Cooperative Unit Owners Advisory Board, presented to Alexis Palinkas. We want to thank you for your time on the board. We know you're on. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. Resolution 90-14.
That's for a final adoption of ordinance number 6-2014, which is an ordinance amending Chapter 117 entitled Parks, a Part 2 entitled General Legislation of the City of Hackensack Municipal Code to add Section 117-8 entitled Smoking. This ordinance has been advertised pursuant to law and now calls for a public hearing.
Okay, I'd like a motion to open this up for the public, please.
Offered?
I'll second.
Okay. At this time, anybody who would like to speak on this ordinance and this ordinance only, please come forward. Please state your name and your address to the clerk, please.
Hi, my name is Cindy Meekum. I work at the Center for Prevention and Counseling in Newton, New Jersey. I'm part of the Office of Tobacco Control, and I just wanted to commend you for hopefully going forward on this ordinance. I also see that you added electronic cigarettes in there, and I don't know if people are aware, but individuals are figuring out how to use them to smoke cocaine, heroin, and marijuana. So a lot of the towns that are going forward with this are adding that on to be proactive, and I just want to commend you and thank you because you've all been great to work with. And I just dropped off 100 signs at the rec station this morning, so whenever your ordinance is passed, they're all ready to go.
Thank you very
I
much.
want to thank you very
It was our
much.
pleasure. Thank you. Okay, seeing nobody else, I'd like an offer to close this to the public, please.
I'll offer.
Second?
Okay, roll call.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye.
Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Hackensack, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, that ordinance 5-0214 is passed its second and final reading is hereby adopted.
Okay. Second resolution is resolution number 91-14.
Which is an introduction of ordinance number 7-2014, an ordinance amending section 17-17 entitled Retirement and Death Benefits of Part 2 entitled General Legislation of the City of Hackensack Municipal Code. Be it resolved that the above ordinance being ordinance 7, oh, I'm sorry, we need to do motion.
Okay,
I'm jumping ahead.
may I have a motion, please?
I'll offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye.
Be it resolved that the above ordinance being ordinance 7-2014 is introduced, is now passed on first reading, and the said ordinance shall be considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on March 18th, 2014 at 8 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the City Council, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that city clerk be and she is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Okay. Moving on to resolution number 92-14.
This is another introduction of ordinance number 8-2014, an ordinance authorizing and approving the City of Hackensack's vacation of a portion of the public rights-of-way identified as Kip Street and Lodi Street.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye.
Be it resolved that the above ordinance being ordinance 8-2014 is introduced, is now passed on first reading, and that said ordinance shall be considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on March 18th, 2014 at 8 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the City Council, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and the city clerk be and she is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for passage.
Okay. Moving on to resolution 93-14.
This is an introduction of ordinance number 9-2014, a bond ordinance providing for the acquisition of a ladder fire truck by and in the city of Hackensack and the county of Bergen, state of New Jersey, appropriating $843,000, therefore including a reappropriation of excess bond proceeds from bond ordinance number 22-2006 in the amount of $600,000, and authorizing the issuance of $231,400 in bonds or notes of the city to finance part of the cost thereof.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye.
Be it resolved that the above ordinance being ordinance 9-2014 as introduced is now passed on first reading, and that said ordinance shall be considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on March 18th, 2014 at 8 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the City Council, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the city clerk be and she is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Okay, moving on to Resolution 94-14.
Is an introduction of ordinance number 10-2014, an ordinance amending Chapter 159 entitled Towers and Wreckers of Part 2 entitled General Legislation of the City of Hackensack Municipal Code.
May I have a motion, please?
Offered.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye.
Be it resolved that the above ordinance being ordinance 10-2014 as introduced is now passed on first reading, and that said ordinance shall be considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on March 18th, 2014 at 8:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the City Council, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the city clerk be and she is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Okay, moving on to Resolution 95-14.
This is an introduction of ordinance number 11-2014, an ordinance amending Section 45A-20 entitled Administration to create the position of Municipal Housing Liaison for the purpose of administering the City of Hackensack's affordable housing program pursuant to the Fair Housing Act.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye.
Be it resolved that the above ordinance being ordinance 11-2014 is introduced is now passed on first reading, and that said ordinance shall be considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on March 18th, 2014 at 8:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the City Council, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the city clerk be and she is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Okay. Resolution 96-14.
9614 is a resolution for transfer of 2013 appropriation reserves.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
Offered.
Second.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Moving on, Resolution 97-14.
9714 is an emergency temporary appropriation prior to the adoption of the budget per NJSA 40A:4-20.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
I'm sorry, who
Roll
seconded?
call? Mr. Pataglia, second.
Aye.
Didn't hear. Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 98-14.
Is a resolution authorizing the award of pothole repair bid to Gem Rose Utility LLC.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 99-14.
Is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an employment contract for Michael Mordega.
May I have a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Moving on, Resolution 100-14.
This is a resolution authorizing execution of a settlement agreement for DACA versus City of Hackensack et al.
May I have a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 101-14.
Is a resolution authorizing execution of settlement agreement for Hackensack versus New Vision Developers LLC et al.
May I have a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 101-14. Did we just, I'm sorry, 102-14?
Okay, this is resolution for payment of bills. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Hackensack that the bills in the following accounts be and are hereby ordered paid. Current fund has $9,553,117.53. Total expenditures are $11,253,252.68. Interfunds and transfers is $113,954.67.
Okay, may I have a motion, please, to accept the bills?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Okay, moving on to our consent agenda for the evening.
Okay, the following items are considered to be routine in nature and will be enacted in one motion. Any items require expenditure are supported by a certification of availability of funds. Any item requiring discussion will be removed from the consent agenda, and consent agenda items will be reflected in full in the minutes, including any exceptions and/or additions. The consent agenda takes resolutions 103-14 through 107-14.
Okay, may I have a motion to accept the consent agenda as it is, please?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Okay, this time we're going to open the meeting to the public. Before we do, I'm going to read a statement. I'm going to open the public comment portion of this meeting. Before I do, I want to set the ground rules by which this session and all future sessions of this mayor and council will be conducted. The public comment session of the meetings provide the public with the opportunity to make comment and ask reasonable questions of the governing body. This is arguably the most important part of our council meeting and should be treated as such. We take this portion of this meeting seriously, and we ask that you do the same. This is neither the time nor place for inquisitions, grandstanding, temper tantrums. Citizens of Hackensack deserve to have their meetings run with an appropriate decorum, and we will not tolerate a lapse in that standard of civility. I realize everything we do will not be applauded by every member of our community. If you want to express your dissatisfaction with something this administration has done, I ask that you just do it in a civil and constructive manner. Name-calling, threats, basic accusations, or assaults on one character or ethnicity will not be tolerated. Anyone who attempts to disrupt this meeting or engages in conduct outside the boundaries of appropriate decorum or have their time at the podium terminated may be asked to leave the council chambers. Okay, that said, I'd like to motion open this meeting to the public.
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Okay, at this time. if anybody, excuse me. Oh, yes, and we also, if you have any questions, if all your questions aren't answered, if you have some questions, you can, there's a pad right by the clerk with a pen. You can leave your contact information and your questions there. Okay, at this time, anybody would like to come to the podium, please give your name and your address to the clerk.
Hello again, Alexis Palinkas, 235 Prospect. Two questions. The potholes on Prospect, I mean, everywhere in the city, but especially on Prospect, because of the volume, the number of people who live on that street, and the volume of traffic, be it from police, fire, ambulances, is there any chance that that street might be repaved? It'll be impossible to patch.
It wouldn't be repaved this year, but it's something, I mean, we're rotating the streets as we see. We're taking the worst streets first, obviously. I know I travel Prospect every day back and forth to work, and it's bad.
So you said it will be repaired this year?
No, it won't be repaired this year.
Oh.
We just have our list coming out of streets to be paved. I think there were 7 on the list this year.
And are they all streets that have as much volume as Prospect has? I mean, Summit is wonderful compared to Prospect.
Yeah, no, Summit's much better. Summit's also a county road, but some of them are in very bad disrepair. Prospect would probably have to be done in stages because it's a very long street. I don't think we could do from one end to the other at one time. It would have to be done. When we pave, we depend on grant money, and we match it with matching funds in order to do that. And we can only get, Prospect doesn't even qualify for any of the available grant money out there. So it would be fully on the taxpayers when we go to do that.
And there are a lot of taxpayers on
Yeah,
Prospect.
yeah, I know.
And the other question is, and I don't know if this is the proper place, the LTAC property on Prospect and on Summit, those houses have been taken down. Is there any indication what's going to be happening there?
No indication of what's going to be happening. We can assume that he knocked those houses down so that he only pays taxes on the property and not the houses. So he's saving some money for himself there. But as of right now, that case is in appeal, and it's pending appeal.
And you all still support?
Absolutely support
Good. Thank you.
that not going up.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Sir?
Richard Salkin, excuse me, Hackensack, New Jersey. Let's make this a teaching opportunity. I get back to this issue regarding your consent agenda. I'm going to read to you from the New Jersey statute, which pertains to this form of government, the Council Manager Government Form 1923. Every resolution or ordinance shall be reduced to writing and read before the vote is taken thereon. And the vote upon every motion, resolution, or ordinance shall be taken by yeas and nays. Let me repeat that. Every resolution or ordinance shall be reduced to writing and read before the vote is taken thereon, and the vote upon every motion, resolution, or ordinance shall be taken by yeas and nays. I understand I sat there for 16 years with Doris Stoops and Debbie, and it really is not that much fun to spend an extra 15 minutes, half hour, with resolutions that no one out here is necessarily interested in. They're not major issues of the day. But you took an oath to uphold the law of the state of New Jersey when you took office. You wanted these. And I know it may be inconvenient to spend an extra half hour, but I'd like you to comply with the law, and that's the law. Now, I made copies. I'll hand it to the city clerk. When you have a chance, please look at them. It's not a question regarding Robert's rules, as the city attorney, I thought, incorrectly tried to turn it into the last time I spoke on this. Secondly, I'm going to finish my remarks regarding the city attorney billing. When my time ran out, I had said at the rate they were going, it's going to be $600,000 this year. But I didn't mention that in November and December, just those 2 months, the billing was $118,000. Now, if that's the trend, the billing is going to be $750,000. Now, I heard Deputy Mayor Canestrino's remarks at the end of the meeting, and I hope you're correct. I'm rooting for you, believe it or not. I hope with the flat rate, it brings it under control. But I'm a little skeptical. knowing how people of my persuasion and profession work. So we're going to have to be really vigilant in monitoring those bills. And that's a great segue into the situation regarding Oprah. Now, Mrs. Canestrino, I'm not trying to single you out, but of all the people up there, you were a community activist. You know how crucial Oprah is. Now, I urge you to direct your city attorney's firm to pre-redact their bills. People have a right to know what's going on. People should not be hit with a bill for $450 to get young Mr. Morris or older Mr. Scrivo to look through the bills for a second or third time. That's not right, and it's not going to work. It's going to be slapped down by the court. You know it and I know it. Please reconsider it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Next, please.
Evening, Mr. Mayor. Jason Lennomark,
Evening.
235 Prospect Avenue. Mr. Mayor, I understand you've recently received a job promotion at the Hackensack Medical Center.
If you want to call it a promotion, I transferred, yes.
You're now, I believe, the Director of Public Safety? Or
No,
direct-
no.
What is your title?
I'm a safety specialist.
Safety Specialist. Given the City of Hackensack's relationship with the medical center regarding various building codes, fire codes, and electrical codes, could you just explain how that's not an inherent conflict, as you're pretty much, well, not pretty much, you are the mayor, which puts you in a, you're pretty much the boss of all of our safety officials in town who have to do different monitoring of the hospital.
Okay?
Can you explain how your current position is not a conflict to your duties as mayor?
I never saw it as a conflict, but I'm going to defer, because we took care of that, I'll defer that to our attorney. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate that, but no one elected the attorney. We elected you.
Well,
Do you want me to comment on this?
well,
Well, initially,
I commented on it either way, because to me, it's not a conflict.
Initially, Mr. Nonamaker, I believe you're an attorney, and you would be aware that if there is a procedure, if you believe that the mayor's violated a local government ethics law, there's
Not
the
saying
local
he-
finance board,
I'm
you
not
can bring an
saying he-
ethics complaint. Then there's a procedure where it would be vetted and
I'm very
and
familiar
there
with
would
the
be hearing.
procedure. I'm not accusing the mayor of doing any such thing. I'm just asking if that is a conflict, and if it is a conflict, is there safety checks in place both in the city and at the hospital to make sure that there is no conflict?
Yeah, there's laws governing these things in the state of New Jersey. There's statutes that apply, and the appropriate venue for that issue, if a citizen believes that the mayor or any other elected official has an ethical breach, you can bring a complaint at the local finance board.
I understand that. Mike, I guess you're not answering my question, which is your right to do.
Do I look at it as a conflict, is what you're asking? No, I don't.
Well, can you explain what your job duties are as a safety specialist?
My job as a safety specialist is I do inspections, fire safety inspections. I do the fire extinguishers go out the hospital. I'm part of the couple safety teams as far as disaster drills, stuff of that nature. When it comes to anything to do with the city, my role is basically to walk around with the inspector and lead him through the buildings and open and unlock doors for him. He does his job, I do mine. There's no commentary per se. I don't give him my opinion.
No, I can appreciate that, but now my question is, you involving yourself in that safety inspection with a city inspector regarding various different city codes, seems to me you can use your influence to the hospital's advantage, which would may or may not lead to some code violations. It's my 5 minutes.
If that was the case, I could have done that when I was a council person. I mean, it's not a conflict. I'm not,
Okay.
professional, and I do my job professionally. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Good evening. Howard Hurwitz, 326 Prospect Avenue. I guess part of what I wanted to ask was in relationship to you're out for bids for paving, and I was hoping that the map wasn't included and that part of that would be for Prospect Avenue. But I gather that decision's already been made, and it's in the bid specifications that Prospect's not included. Is that correct?
That prospect's not included to be paved this year, yes. It's not one of the streets scheduled to be paved this
Well, I
year.
hope you put it on the list next time, because it's really getting awful. My main reason for being here today is I wanted to ask about the docket and how residents are able to get a copy of the docket prior to the meeting.
That's a good question. I mean, we get an original draft, I guess, Thursday or Friday beforehand, but that quite often changes, because there's changes all the time and things
No,
to be
that's all right.
added.
I'm not concerned about, I don't want to know any more than you know. I
No.
just feel.
I mean,
when
That's
you-
something we've never been asked before, so we'd have to discuss that and see how we would
Okay,
take care
the
of that.
reason I brought it up is that in it was the January 28th meeting, the one where you granted the 5-year tax abatement. The Star Ledger had something on their website indicating that this was going to be introduced, and had a link, and you clicked on the link, and the entire docket was there before the meeting. Now, if it's there before the meeting, you must have sent it there, not you personally, but the city, and I'm wondering why, as long as you have the whole docket electronically and you sent it out to the Star Ledger, you can't put it on the website.
That might be possible, Mr. Hurwitz, might be possible. That's
I-
something we have to
The
look
attorney
at.
will probably, there was a recent suit against, I guess, Maywood Board of Education, where citizens complained that the board members were getting the docket in advance. I know it's up for appeal, but the judge ruled that if the council, or in that case, the Board of Ed, got the docket in advance, there was absolutely no reason that citizens couldn't have it. And it was understood that if there was something that wasn't decided prior, then the citizens wouldn't have it. But I'd urge you to consider being, as open as you possibly can. If there's an ordinance that's not prepared in advance, you don't have it, and the citizens wouldn't have
Right.
it. But if it is available, I'd like to see that, so people know what's coming up at a council meeting. People come out, and then they pick this up, and they say, oh, gee, I wish I'd looked at it before, or they look and say, gee, I could have skipped the meeting. But thank you very much.
Certainly that's something I would like to consider, and I think it's a good idea, actually, so thank you. Good evening, sir.
Mayor,
How are you?
Council. My name is Richard Serbo, C as in Charles, E-R-B as in boy, O. I have so many things to bring up, but I will be fair to everyone else here and just bring up what I came here for, which is most troubling. I live on Spring Valley Ave, and it is the new 42nd Street, okay? It every year becomes more and more with traffic, cars, commercial vehicles, big trucks, industrial machinery, and most of all, buses. Now, years ago, there were no buses on Spring Valley Ave. Now, okay, maybe it is 15 or 20 years ago, but there were no buses on Spring Valley years ago. Now, they come up and down that avenue like freight trains. So it's like living near a railroad track, and they shake the whole house when they go by. I mean, now, I wrote to New Jersey Transit, I wrote to our former city manager, and I wrote to the governor. The only non-response was the governor. He did not return my letter. But I was told that it would be looked into, and it is absolutely awful. And the homes are closer on Spring Valley Avenue than they are on other commercial roads. And it's just every minute, and I'd say it's 20 hours a day. So, there's a little respite overnight for maybe 4 or 5 hours. So for 20 hours, buses are going by every few minutes, shaking your home, when at one time there were no buses on Spring Valley Avenue. You had to walk to Main Street to get a bus. I don't see anything wrong with that. So I know there's not much you can do, and I'm sure that's what the response will be, but I appreciate if something could be done, or for you to contact maybe New Jersey Transit and say, hey, what's the story there? And I forgot to add, many of them are empty. So we have empty buses going up and down the avenue constantly. So like I said, I have many other things to discuss, but that would be unfair to take up so much time, so I'll leave it at that, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Serber. One of the things we might be able to address is, because I noticed a lot of large commercial trucks on that street also, and that might be a weight issue that can be addressed. We'd have to look into it, though. It is a main artery through the town. Good evening.
Good evening. Blanche Stewart, Stuart, Hackensack, New Jersey. I just wanted to make a comment on something that was said a few minutes ago by Mr. Nunemacher and also Mr. Salkin with regard to conflict with the hospital. I would assume if there's something like that, as an employee of the hospital, you probably would recuse yourself, similar to what they do at the Board of Education. So Mr. Salkin and Mr. Nunemacher should also know that already. Also, I said you should know that when there's a board issue and a member is employed or have a relative that is employed by a situation as an employee, that they should recuse themselves, unless, of course, you find a need for a doctrine of necessity. But in this case, I'm sure that the mayor would recuse himself if it had something to do that was in conflict. Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you.
go back and forth, please. Thank
But
you.
anyway, yes, he's the one who says we yell out. But I would hope that both Mr. Nunemacher and Mr. Salkin do the same thing as they said on the Board of Education. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Richard Ponaseka, 120 Meadow Street in Hackensack. I haven't been here much this winter because I plow snow and remove snow just like the city, and you all know that's all we had all winter long. Now, Mr. Rotino, congratulations. I know you're
That's not
going to
him.
do a better job.
That's not him.
I'll pass it on to him.
Wait.
He'll be very happy. All right, Carl.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You don't have to do much to be better than the last one, in my opinion, but anything is better than nothing. You'll do your job well. Congratulations. Now, city and mayor and council, welcome. I'm glad to see you. You're all doing a great job. You're just spending a lot of personal time trying to do things the right way. Nobody's perfect. Don't worry about it if a mistake is made. You don't have some people here are not your friends, obviously, but chin up, do the right thing. Now, DPW did a fantastic job on the snow this winter. Granted, I know what it's all about. I'm out there 24 hours a day when it snows. And whatever people that are not satisfied have no idea what it takes to do what they did. So, congratulations to the DPW. Modaga, the police are doing a fantastic job. It's obvious they're putting their necks out on the line to clean up the city of Hackensack. And it's not an easy job either. So you are all working together as a team. Congratulations there. Well, otherwise, other than that, the only thing I really have, which I don't want to tie up this right now with this, but 30 Van Wettering again, and that I'd like to have a meeting with the city manager rather than bring it up now and tie up this thing all night long.
Okay, sir.
So if there's a chance that we can get together and talk, maybe sometime next week,
Okay.
I'd appreciate it.
Very good.
All righty? Congratulations, everybody.
Rich, would you leave your contact info there? This way we'll make sure he follows up with you on that pad. Thank you.
Steve Gilbert, 304 Clinton Place. I've got a few items, but I'm just going to stick to one for now. Question regarding the Wright Associates and their handling of our public relations and press releases for the city. I know it was a very open and honest and fair process in how the Wright Associates was chosen. So I just want to confirm that when Wright Associates was interviewed and hired, is the city council aware, did it come up in the interview process, what all of his outside employment other than just with the municipality of Hackensack are?
I wasn't aware of all, I don't need to know where all his
Well,
places
I think
are.
you should, because within his contract, there is a specific clause regarding conflicts of interest with any other government entities or municipalities that he may be employed by. So I'm just wondering if Mr. Morris, if you could just give a brief comment. I know from a legal standpoint, if you're representing the city of Hackensack and we're about to enter a contract with with Maywood for re-upping on recycling or something, you're not going to, your firm wouldn't represent Pagoda, correct? I mean, you couldn't. It'd be a conflict of interest for you.
Do you want me to comment?
Absolutely.
Well, on that, yeah, obviously a law firm, unless there's a conflict where it can't be on both sides of an issue, and if there's two municipalities involved, you never ever can be on both sides of an issue.
Absolutely.
It's an irrevocable, unwaivable conflict. Now,
So
one
within-
concern with the Wright Associates, I believe you're saying he's an employee. I believe he's an independent contractor.
He's an independent contractor of the city, but within his contract with the city, it says that he will not be employed by any other government entity or municipality that would have a conflict of interest. Now, are you aware that he is a full-time employee of the county of Bergen?
A full-time employee?
Full-time employee.
No, I'm not.
Don't you think that you should be aware of that, and that is an absolute potential conflict of interest in doing press releases for the city of Hackensack and drafting statements for the city of Hackensack when there are several potential things that, who's his master? Just for instance, you've got things going on with the homeless shelter in town. The city's going to take one stand. The county may not take the same stand as you. You've got redevelopment issues. You've got the old Bergen County Police Station that's going to have to be redeveloped. The city and the county may not be on the same side of what the objective with that land and property is. I mean, there's a very clear potential conflict of interest between the county of Bergen and the city of Hackensack on many public relations type things. Now, you're telling me that you're not aware that he is a full-time employee of the county of Bergen. Now, going on that same thought that he's a full-time county of Bergen employee, Mr. Rotino has told us that he has untethered access to Mr. Amarato during the day if Mr. Amarato needs to craft a statement or come up with anything for the record, for any other periodical. I mean, he doesn't recognize me as a periodical, so he won't talk to me. But if he comes up with a statement that needs to be crafted, if there's an emergency in the city, if, for instance, when Mrs. Heck resigned, I guess we'll call it, he had to come up with craft language for that. It was within his statement, his invoices, that he did extensive work talking to the media to craft very specific wording to be seen in the papers, and he worked with Mr. Morris and Mr. Morris's firm on that. Do you have untethered access to this guy during the day when he's a full-time employee of the county of Bergen?
Well, I don't know what his agreement with the county is. Are you a full-time employee? I mean, I don't know exactly what his position is with
I will
the county of
email you
Bergen.
tonight his offer of employment with the county of Bergen. He is a full-time 40-hour-a-week employee of the county of Bergen.
Well, please do email me that. I appreciate it.
But can will you comment as to whether or not there is definitely a potential
I won't comment
conflict with the
until
county of Bergen?
I see something. I'll make my decision once I look at it. Absolutely. But I wasn't aware. I was under the opinion, I knew he did work for the county, but I wasn't under the opinion that he was an employee of the county.
Yes, he is a full-time employee of the county of Bergen. I will send you those documents along with others this evening, and I would appreciate your reply prior to the next meeting, because if not, I'll come back and address the issue again. Thank you.
You got it.
Please leave your contact information, because that's how we will, you missed the beginning of the meeting. We asked people if you want to be contacted, please leave it there, and we'll make sure we do respond. Thank you.
Reverend, good evening.
Hello, good evening. My name is Gregory Jackson, Jackson. I live at 79 Allen Street in Hackensack. And I think this is the first time that I've been here since all of you were elected, so let me congratulate you all.
Thank you.
And let me give you also kudos on some things that I think that you're doing well, since I'm sure there will be times when I might be here on another mission that you're not doing so well. I appreciate what someone else has said related to the snow removal. This has been an unusual winter, and for the most part, I think the department have done a good job in keeping our streets clean from snow. Potholes, that's another issue, and probably you can't do much about that until the weather changes, I would imagine. I also want to commend Councilman Sims, and I've had more relationship with him than any of the rest of you during your term. He really, in my 30 years here, he has kept me more informed about what's going on in the city than any council or mayor in my 30 years. So I want to commend him and congratulate him and ask him to keep on doing what he's doing. And also want to commend Mr. Madaga and the police department for their job in terms of cleaning up our city of drugs. I'm sure it's an ongoing process. And also, I appreciate, I should also mention that, as you know, I'm pastor of Mount Olive Church, but I'm also president of the Fellowship of Black Churches of Hackensack. But tonight, I'm speaking for myself. I don't want you to, I'm not speaking for the fellowship, but I'm just telling you that I'm president. And in that line, we have had meetings with both the commissioner related to police matters, as well as, I don't know what y'all call him, I still call him chief, or director, chief, same thing as far as I'm concerned. And I think that that's the way to go in terms of communication is helpful, so that we're not surprised. And I recognize there are going to be issues that the chief and the commission is not going to talk to us about, but I appreciate the effort to work with the community because we all live here, we all pay taxes here, our families live here, and we want our community to be the best community possible. So thank you for this moment on the agenda, and congratulations again.
Thank you for coming, Reverend
Thank
Jackson.
you.
Reverend Jackson, before you leave, I just want to give you something.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council
Good evening.
members. Good evening, everyone. I just have a quick question. My name is Lance Spout, 395 Golf Place, Hackensack. It's a question on sports. There are two council members, maybe you could correct me, Mr. Sims, Mr. Battaglia, who have been heavily involved in sports in the community for a very long time, which you're sure you're aware of it. They have their own programs that they run, which that's okay. But if they're profiting financially from the programs, which maybe you can look into that, I'm not here to say they are, because I'm not sure. But if they are, how can they make a conscious or a rational decision for sports containing our kids in the community? Sports has been a major problem in this community, where a lot of parents are moving their kids to Teaneck and other towns because there's been such an upheaval when it comes to sports. Is that considered a conflict of interest? We have two council members who have their own program in basketball and soccer, make decisions for the rec and for our kids when their programs are beneficial to them. How can they flip the switch and make rational decisions for our kids in our community where things are lacking in sports and diversity, and we have to take our kids to other communities to get them involved in sports?
Are you finished? You want my
Yes, sir.
answer?
Yes, sir. Thank
Well,
you.
I won't comment on whether they profit from that, because that's for them to answer. But I will say this. We have great sports programs in this town. Past mayors, past council people have coached. Our past mayor, Mike Melfi, coached junior wrestling and still coaches to this day.
Right.
I coached for over 20 years in this town. I'm still a trustee on Hackensack Junior Wrestling. I don't consider that to be a conflict. I look at it as a plus, not a conflict, because just because you're a
No,
council person doesn't
right,
exempt you
right.
from volunteering as a coach or running a program.
Now, the question I'm actually asking, I rephrase the question. I'm saying, is it a conflict where they make the decisions, especially the field, where they have pretty much total control for their programs? How does it benefit us? How do they flip the switch again to make rational decisions for our kids when they have their own programs that benefit them tremendously? It's just a simple question. How do they?
Well, my opinion, if you're out there volunteering your time and you're a good person, you're going to make the right decision. I don't think you should be taking advantage of your position in any place.
But basically in the town right now, there have been a lot of issues in sports where a lot of parents are not happy with a lot of decisions. I'm just bringing it to you if you're not aware of it. A lot of parents.
You'd have to be more specific. I mean, I'm familiar with all our programs. You'd have to be more specific on what sport, who's unhappy. You just can't, it's easy to come in and say everybody in sports in Hackensack is unhappy. I don't see that.
There are a lot of problems in the soccer program.
Okay?
If you want specifics, yes. Basketball, I'm not very versed in it, but there's a lot of problems in the soccer. A lot of parents are not happy with the soccer right now. Especially, for example, the kids play rec, but what is there for them after rec? That's always been a problem, if you're not aware of it. A lot of our kids are in Teaneck playing soccer when, as taxpayers, we should be developing our kids here, not kids from Union City and other towns that come in here, play on the field, and take over, and our kids have nothing to do. And that's a fact. I've done research with Greg Leosi, who was the commissioner, and a lot of the kids, when they ran it, came from many other towns. They were not from here. Fine. How about our kids that live here and need to develop themselves?
I agree with that. I'm not going to get into an argument over that one.
And we did run addresses and all of that, and a lot of them on Mr. Battaglia's team came from out of town. I'm not saying he can't do that, but what are we doing for our kids that live in Hackensack?
I need the specifics to know whether it was a travel league, what league they were in.
I mean, I could speak to you. I don't want to hold up time. I could speak
Well,
to you.
why don't you
later.
leave your name and your contact
I will.
number?
And I'll
All
give
right?
you much more information.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Bridget Dotson, Dodson. Just a couple of things. First, I would like to say thank you for, I met with Mr. Domingo down at the Bergen County Housing, and he was able to answer all of my questions about the Martin Luther King Center. So thank you for that information. And secondly, to say thank you for Mr. Medagger. Not that I didn't expect him to do a great job for Hackensack, because I remember him from years ago when he cleaned up Newman, Railroad, Atlantic, Sussex, so we didn't expect him to do anything shy of what he did before. And to also say thank you to Mr. Sims and the whole entire board for the beating that you're taking, because for sure, like the Reverend said, everybody is not your friend, and you're not going to get praise reports from everybody. But I know it's been a residence in Hackensack for 47 years, even raising my children here, that if we move aside and let the people that's put in jobs do their jobs, put in positions, do their position jobs, the city would be much, much better. I've seen a tremendous change over the city in just a short period of time that you've been here. Now, that doesn't mean everybody will come here and say the same thing, because they won't. The Board of Education budget is just so overwhelmed. The budget is so high, and we're having a budget meeting on this month. And if you could just come and just not say anything, just hear and just know that Mr. Sawkins at our meeting where he served as attorney does not fight for our children and our schools like he want to come here and fight here for various things on your agenda. Neither does Mr. Nunemacher. They all sit across the room. They all vote when it appeased them, and it's not necessarily good for the children. If you was to come to a meeting, you would see that our schools are below the state level. I think the only school that was not was Lillian Whitaker at Nellie K. Parker, was the only school that rose above. So if they have the time to come here and to speak on the agenda that's here, they should put a little more time in where the huge budget go and where the money goes. Because I'm telling you, I've been going to those meetings now for a long time, and everybody on that board so far votes the same exact way. It's like they don't even have to discuss it. Their mind is already made up, it's already done. Do I hear it yet? And if anybody question it, Mr. Sawkins is on the end saying, you can't say that, you can't do this, and that's it. That's the bottom line. So come to his turf. Come to his turf, to him and Nunemaker's turf. And you guys sit out there the way they sit out here and come here and voice their opinion about everything that you're doing wrong. Come and hear for yourself the way that budget is done. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor,
Evening.
Council. Joe Barretto, Poplar Avenue. I had a question. During the last couple of snowstorms, I have an elderly neighbor whose car was broken down, trapped under, became ice, piles of snow. Is there, when I called the police department to see if there was alternate side, one day there wasn't, so he was able to leave it there. Then the next time he said, no, you're gonna have to move it. What is the regulation when there is alternate side? Like, were they able to come, are they able to come by? I know they can't clean the streets, but is there a way that we can do in the future where they can come and get some of that ice buildup that spilled out almost into the middle of the street, pushed to the side?
Joe, are you on Poplar?
I'm on Poplar, but
Where's
this
he
was
at?
on Pine. So I'm on the corner.
So that's
And
not,
it's a
that's
lot
not a snow
narrow,
route. I just
right.
wanted to see if it was a snow route.
It's narrow. And my concern was, he was trying to move it, he couldn't move it. We were pushing it out, but then as I kept driving around even, because of the way that everything just built up, when there is alternate side, can't we have the plows come through and kind of clear it? Because I noticed even trying to cross the tracks, there were cars literally parked in front of the More Than Dance studio, almost in the middle of the street, that the cars had to wait on opposite sides and the tracks were right there. So what I'm saying is if there's an alternate side that's in effect, can we use it instead of just to clean the street, to clear the ice and snow off so that people can park and not worry about getting hit or kids crossing there? Because the crossing guard was having a hard time at the tracks.
Correct. This is exactly one of the things I had mentioned last time. It's snow committee, for lack of a better term. But once the winter's over, we're going to have everybody involved, especially emergency services. We're going to sit down and come up with a plan on, first we're going to look at what went wrong. Stuff like you're speaking about, Joe, where cars were trapped and they couldn't get from one side of the street to the other when they needed to. Once the professionals in town sit down and hash it out, then we're going to sit with some citizens and form a little type committee and get some feedback on stuff like that so we can address it in the future, because we feel like, that's an important.
And also, is there a way that a call could go out to say if alternate side was in effect? Because the only way I found out was by calling. And, unlike I work in New York where they make it's on the news all the time.
We did just purchase a reverse 911 system for the year. So that will be used in the future. We only used it the one time really, and we got it done late, and it didn't go out to about 9, 10 o'clock at night. But
it's just harder for the elderly, especially when there's a lot of.
Agreed.
And they're still having a tough time. And even the curbs for the people that have the wheelchairs, there's no way to.
No,
clear
it's
them.
almost impossible to get them. It's all ice.
You still have a lot of inches of there. So that's why I was wondering, just if we can try to get that so that next year or whatever, hopefully we don't get any more this year, that we can get that.
Mayor,
done and get
I
to-
think what would really solve the problem if we could get the cooperation and not have the cars on the street to begin with. And we'd be able
Correct.
to go
That's one of our
curbside
goals
right
is to, and one of the robocall we did make was to get your car off the street, put it down at several different parking spots. We realize everybody can't do it, but
Yeah,
the more cars we get off the street, the better off we can service the roads. And then when you bring your car back, it's not such a
I guess a
disaster.
little bit of what was disheartening, where I'm out on Poplar, right up the school block, there were no cars all night. People moved them off.
Right.
When I came back from work in the city, because the city never closes their schools, the snow hadn't been touched yet.
Right.
So then it was rough, because then when the ice fell, then it was just a skating rink. And so it just got worse, when I was hoping that if no one was out there, at least a quick pass through.
Well, the one issue we
Help
had,
maybe,
Joe, after that one storm where it iced up right afterwards, they couldn't plow it. It froze so hard they couldn't hit it with the plows, and then we were stuck with that situation where you had just a smaller road basically, and you just couldn't go curb to curb because it was solid ice. So that was one of the problems. We had the type of storm, type of weather we've had, very little thawing. So it was a rough winter. It was tough on us.
Okay, I appreciate that. I told my neighbor I would just bring it up. Thanks
Thank
a lot.
you.
Thanks.
Appreciate that. Have a good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. I'm Tom Casey. I reside at 208 Anderson Street here in Hackensack. I wish to just contribute some information with regards to the question about buses on Spring Valley Avenue. There are currently 3 buses that New Jersey Transit operates on Spring Valley Avenue. They're 168, they're 751, and they're 755. The 168 operates on an hourly headway. That means that once an hour. The 751 and the 755 are on 90-minute headways. They do operate nearly 18 hours a day. There have been some trips where we have a standing room problem, but I'm not going to say that every trip throughout the day is full to the brim. There are off-peak trips that are not. I should mention, though, that the 168 does operate a little more frequently during the evening rush hour. It's a service to and from New York. For the 40 years that I've been using the transit system in this area, there's been service on Spring Valley Avenue, predominantly going to the mall, but there's been service for 40 years that I'm aware of. Thank you.
Thank you.
Regina DePasco, Parker Avenue. I have a question on the garbage 2 times a week, citywide.
That's correct.
And how will all residents be notified of this?
Actually, we're printing up,
Stickers? Go ahead.
Actually, we're printing up, actually almost like door hangers, which we're going to hang on the actual garbage cans. That's one way we're doing it. We're doing email blasts, and
Be on the website.
It'll be on the website. That's
Okay,
correct.
because I know my one day, I won't know what my second day is.
The
Actually-
schedule should be on.
Yes.
It'll be
it
on
will.
the-
On that
Actually, it'll be
tag.
going back to the way it was 12 years ago. If you're on the south side, it'll be Monday, Thursday. On the north side, it'll be Tuesday, Friday.
All right. I was interested to hear about the consent agenda issue, because as long as I've been coming to council meetings, there's been consent agendas, and there used to be more on the consent agenda than there presently is. It's been that way the prior administration, the administration before that. I'd be interested in the answer on that, because that's the way it has been done. I also agree, if for the cow meeting and for this meeting, if on the website, if a tentative agenda could be put up, an idea of what's, I said that last night actually to somebody in the elevator. The only reason I was here was because I wasn't sure if it was worth my while to come, because I didn't know what was on the agenda. So that I agree is a good idea. The other thing about pre-redacting attorney bills, then who's going to know what you are billing for or you're going to do 2 bills? That just doesn't make sense to me. And you'd be doing it possibly when it's not needed, and then the taxpayers are footing the bill for the time you're spending pre-redacting legal bills. So if somebody wants this information, and if that's what it takes, and they're asking for this information, there is a cost to it. There is, and the people that have the right to the privacy are entitled to that, and the people that are looking at the bills are entitled to look at complete bills, not redacted bills. So I don't know, that just didn't make sense to me. It makes sense to me to redact it when it's for an Oprah request, because again, that's the way it's always been done. I don't know, the prior city attorney went through just about every Oprah request and redacted things too. So this is not new, and I think it's a common practice. So again, some people, as was said very well, some people here are not your friends, and you know that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. I'm here as your friend. Stephen Koff, I'm from Fairlawn, New Jersey. I am here as the Vice Chairman of the Housing Authority of Bergen County. And I just wanted to share a story that happened January 29th. We at the homeless shelter had our Project Homeless Connect and our point of survey, which is where volunteers go out and count the homeless. This is nationwide. And our Project Homeless Connect was where anybody in Bergen County who was in need of services was able to come to the shelter and get either clothing, legal advice. We had a lot of giveaways, blankets, anything that needed to be done, medical screening, dental screening. I was able to actually bring one of our more chronic homeless gentlemen to the center because he was in dire need of dental work. But also that day, as I was passing through the lounge area, I noticed out of the corner of my eye Kathleen Salvo sitting in the waiting room. And I said, well, okay, it can't be getting that bad in Hackensack that Kathleen's coming to our homeless shelter. So she had brought one of our, a prominent former resident who has fallen on bad times and has been back and forth from the homeless shelter and was found basically in a very abusive relationship outside of Hackensack. And she had brought him in saying that this, he needs services. You have to help him. She was a little agitated at first, but over the course of about 6 hours, we were able to find out a way to help him. We were already 15 people over capacity. As you know, the winter was very, very cold. And we could not specifically help him. He suffers from dementia, and he had a couple of other issues where we were trying to get a plan, and then midway through the plan, he would get up and say, I have to go, this is not working for me. But we were able actually to get him in touch with his brother, who came up from Virginia, and was able to bring him down to South Carolina to his sister's house. So I just wanted to know, I just wanted to let you know that we are trying. We can't help everybody at once, but we were able to help one person, and then we're going to help another person, and we're going to help another person. So I just wanted to share that with you. Also, I don't know if anybody caught the story on Channel 2 News on Friday about how the homeless shelter is, the people are urinating and throwing cans and bottles and whatever. And I have been around that block many, many, many times. So I went out Saturday to inspect the area, and I did not see any yellow snow, but I did pick up a half a bag of garbage. I went from Van Wettering, Hudson, Broadway. I don't know if it's from the snow, from whatever, but those 3 streets are now completely clean. So just trying to be a good neighbor, and I do look forward to working further with all of you. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Kathleen Sauer, 184 Hudson Street. Good evening, everyone. It was nice working with the homeless shelter. We have problems. We're the host. Hackensack is the host, like I said last night, to the housing, to the homeless shelter, I should say. But we're also Hackensack, the city of Hackensack is their campus. So when they're not in the building, they're in our streets and they're around. And we have problems. And working with them, we solved problems. We were able to get Larry help, and he's happy in South Carolina now. But that's just one person, and that's one of many. We need to work closer with the homeless shelter. We need to find another solution. They cannot accept these people if they're intoxicated, if they have mental issues, because they're running a very tight ship there, and everything has to be in order. So we need Plan B. When they can't go there, they can't come. Then they're all problem. They can't come on our streets. We need to work with maybe Bergen County Jail to get them room in there to dry out when they're drunk, or people who have mental health issues to be addressed. Because when they don't accept them into the housing building, then they, like I said, they become our problems. I work with Tony and I were with Larry. He hadn't eaten anything. It was freezing cold, and we were afraid we were going to lose him because the winter's been so bad. We work with a phenomenal social worker, Jody, who stayed with us till the end. We went to Lyndhurst. We got his belongings, and she was with, and we brought him to Bergen Pines, where he was taken care of. They kept him there 3 days until his brother was able to, then we drove him to Newark. So we all worked hand in hand. But we have a problem here, and I understand we had a meeting Thursday, and I think it's going to be one of many because this council wants to cooperate, wants to do what's right. We can't just be banging our heads against with each other. We have to come up with a solution. We can't just be blaming each other for what's happening, and there's got to be a better solution to what's going on. On a different note, the potholes, all the streets are like Swiss cheese, and everybody wants their street done. So it's going to be a big problem in getting these streets done, and the potholes are going to be addressed, but like you said, the paving ones don't happen. Very happy that, and we knew this was going to happen, that Michael Bodega is going to be with us continuously, and a great job was done last week. We don't want the drug people to get comfortable in Hackensack. I think we're sending a message that we don't want them here and to move on, because for 8 years they've become very comfortable. Also nice to see Board of Ed members. I thought they were going to come here to tell us what a great job that the city of Hackensack did in cleaning in front of the streets where the drop-off sections were, because they did a fantastic job. The sanitation and our DPW made sure that in front of each school where the kids got dropped off, that it was spotlessly clean so that there would be no accidents. And I thought that's why they would come here instead of criticism. As far as docket goes and everything else, I remember having a conversation with Mr. Salkin years ago that we didn't even have a docket. And his comment to the newspaper was that it was going to cost too much money to put a docket out. So, people shouldn't throw stones at glass houses, whatever their saying is. And as far as criticizing our two great volunteer athletes there, coaches, whatever we call them, who have been given hours and hours of dedication throughout the years. Since 1996, I know both these men, both David and Leo, and they've given countless numbers of hours dedicated to the kids of Hackensack. And it's going to be better. Why didn't that person come and talk about, these things didn't just happen. They've been ongoing. Why didn't he come and complain last year? It didn't just happen when this council just got in. These men have done a dynamic job with our children. And now that they're there, they have more experience than anybody else to be on the committees that they're on, because they know what it's all about and they know where it can be going. So I don't like people who criticize people when they don't know what they're talking about. I guess basically that's it. And thank you for a great job. Good night.
Thank you. Got a lot of pages tonight.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council, fellow Hackensack residents. My name is Jamal Rahman. I live at 185 Prospect Avenue. Currently, I'm a school crossing guard, and I really like the job. I really enjoy it. I love the kids. I love interacting with the kids and the parents. My excuse me. My one main question is, how are the negotiations going with the contract, city, the union, in reference to crossing guards? I've been a crossing guard for 2 years, and there hasn't been a contract in the 2 years I've been there. And there's been other people who've been crossing guard before me, and they're telling me it's been like 3 or 4 years since they had a contract. So I'm just curious about how the negotiations
I will have to defer, because the city council has nothing to do with contract negotiations, so I will defer to the head of personnel.
Thank you, Mayor. We did meet with your representative for the union a week before last, and we're scheduled again to meet, which hopefully will be the final meeting.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening to everyone.
Good evening.
Mike, thumbs up. Because if you didn't hear from me, good job. Brownita Sharif, 341 2nd Street, Hackensack, New Jersey. I just wanted to make one suggestion about the snow. Is it possible, because I know North Hackensack had a problem with parking, is it possible for you to get an agreement, say, with Sears to defer their cost a little bit by having residents park in their parking lot in that area that was complained about? I think it was the Anderson Street, Pangbourne area. Is it possible maybe you could share expenses with a lot like that to have cars be able to park in those areas? I mean, that was just a suggestion because I know it was a lot of complaints.
It would be tough, Mrs. Sharif, only because if their business is open and we pack it with cars, it could affect their business. So, I mean, if they had a designated area or something like that, but then it'd have to be negotiated. I mean, we do have lots. Unfortunately, they're not close to the people at the north end of town.
That's what the
Then you have to
complaint
get a ride down there, somebody follow you and bring it back. But it is better than having your car in the street.
Yeah.
The best thing, and I can't say it enough, is I drove around for an hour and just counted endless empty driveways and cars on the streets. And, make friends with your neighbors and ask if you can borrow their driveway, if you could put your car in with them. I know it's an inconvenience sometimes flipping cars around trying to schedule going in and out, but, it was frustrating to just see driveway after driveway empty and cars on the street. It just made no sense.
That's true because I saw quite a few empty myself. Recreation. I just want to remind everybody that there is a recreation meeting tomorrow. The first Wednesdays of the month is recreation. If you want to come down and address concerns there, see what's in the plan. There's some good plans coming. It's not coming overnight, but there are things coming for our children that we have discussed. So everyone and anyone who's interested or have complaints, come down and voice your opinion, share, and come and volunteer. As far as the recreation, and again, I'm the liaison for basketball. Hackensack has been a good recreational basketball team. I know Dave has kept quite a few boys and girls off the streets, so Mike does not have to arrest them. This has been going on for years. It's not just because Dave just stepped up to the podium. My daughter was a benefit of Hackensack basketball. She was the second highest scorer or third highest scorer at Hackensack High School. When she graduated, she had the opportunity to play professional basketball or work for Queen Latifah. She decided to go with Queen Latifah. But she still plays basketball. She loves basketball, and she got that right from Hackensack. So I just wanted you to know that. My grandchildren who played rec or bitty basketball, they played here for many years. They decided, and my daughters and son-in-laws decided that they want them to have more of a challenge in basketball. But they stepped up to different categories. But they still come to recreational basketball. And I know the last time I was here, there were a lot of complaints about basketball. I did not know at the time that the parents were complaining because they didn't have a schedule. The following morning, I went to Greg. Greg made a schedule. That night, I took the schedule to, I think, the 9th and 11th grade kids, Ray's group. The parents were very happy to get that schedule. It was like I was giving them $1 million from the Publishers Clearinghouse. But come to find out later that a lot of these games had been canceled. Why? Because they hadn't been confirmed. I don't know whose responsibility it is to confirm these games so the kids can have games and playtime and do the things that they like. But I, as a liaison, would gladly volunteer. I know we have someone new in that seat right now, and I haven't spoken to him yet about it, but I would be glad to confirm games. I don't think it would take much effort or time, but I'm willing to do that. These people at the rec, we're volunteering to serve our children. I know I've been doing it for years. We're not looking for pays or handouts or pats on the back. We're looking to help advance our children. And sometimes they get to a stage where they want to move on. And sometimes it's their decision, and sometimes it's the parents' decision because they want them to be more competitive. So then you have a new group that come in. But we have to be more uniformed. We have to be more, the schedules have to be put out so the parents are not told at the last meeting that there's a game, and then then they get upset, and then it's a whole lot of chaos. But I know Dave scheduled games. I know Paulie scheduled games. I think Mr. White scheduled games. And some of them did get canceled because they weren't confirmed or for one reason or the other. But we just have to remember, we're here to work with our children, do the best we can as volunteers. We're not looking for a paycheck. We're not looking for a handout. We're just here to help our children. And that's what it is all about. And thank you, Dave. And also everyone for just being here and working with our children. Everyone up there. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, boy.
Good evening. My name is Serrano Keith Baldio. My mailing address is 201 Rochelle Avenue, Rochelle Park, 07662. I came to find out again about the 6 properties on Green Street. There was a bid on the property, and I just wanted to find out what happened to the bid. I did an Oprah last week. I don't think the 7 days are up yet. I just want to know what happened to the properties that was bid on opposite 164 Green Street.
Those properties aren't.
Do you want to comment, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, please.
I believe the city rejected, and Mr. Rutino's not here tonight, I believe the city rejected all bids and is going to rebid it at a future date, and is also, as was discussed last night at the meeting, is going to move to evict Polyfly Towing.
Oh, when would that happen?
It will play out in the Bergen County Superior Court.
Oh, so there's a court case on this?
There will be, yes.
So you have to sue him for him to move his junkyard cars out of there?
There will be a lawsuit filed. I don't want to go any further and comment on
That's good, but by the
future or
city?
pending litigation.
There's a lawsuit filed by the city?
The city intends to file a lawsuit to evict Polyfly Towing.
Okay, and how would I learn about that? Do I do an Oprah to get a copy of it?
You can do an Oprah request, or once a complaint's filed, it's a public document at the Bergen County Superior Court.
When would I know when it's filed? Do I just keep checking with the clerk or check with your office? What do I do?
Keep checking with the clerk.
Okay, so she'll tell me when it's
If
filed?
you put in an Oprah request for the complaint, we'll provide that once it's docketed and filed.
Okay, I'm glad that you're finally taking steps to clean up this property. It's been since 2002, this guy's paying $81 a month. He admitted by bidding $5,000 that this is what he should have been paying. So I'm glad that the city is finally taking action to get these people some kind of money in their tax relief by using that property to make money off of it, rather than him getting $81 a month for that property that belongs to them. I'm glad that you're doing that. I was about to come up and yell at you tonight. I was in Passaic yelling at the council there because they were removing a black judge, and it wasn't a good thing that they were doing, and I was fired up to come down here. But I'm glad that this action is being taken. I applaud you for it. I'm going to keep an eye on it. That is a money that can, properties that can bring money back to these people. This guy is also using that property to seek revenge on his neighbor right over there, saying this is an Italian town. He's Italian. Nobody can tell him what to do. This is not good language, not good neighborly business. And that's the reason I got involved when he said he had friends in the police department and all that kind of stuff. Now, while I have a few moments, and I want to thank you for taking this action, I'll keep checking. The police director is here. He's have vehicles parked illegally around his property on 164 Green Street. These big trucks. And it says no parking. Yet, if you, some months ago, he took his towing company and towed his neighbor's van, blocked it on private property, and made that guy pay him $280-something in cash, basically hijacked his van. But yet, and then he calls South Hackensack police on the guy all the time, but he parks illegally in Hackensack.
Just about that, you're saying who parks illegal?
Polyfly Towing. And if you would just go tomorrow morning and just drive around 164 Green Street, you'll see his trucks parked illegally. His cousin trucks are parked on the other side street, and it blatantly says, "Do no parking." I've taken that, I've published it in my newspaper, and it still continues. The police director is here. I hope that he pays attention to that. And by tomorrow morning, they can send some officers out there and tell them, if you're going to punish your neighbor, if you're going to execute judgment on them, it's going to come back to you. And so he shouldn't be doing that to people when he's breaking the law himself. So let's hope that the police goes there tomorrow through the director, I know he's here, and take a look at all his illegal parking and execute judgment on him as he's trying to spite his neighbor. This is not good for Hackensack, and I'm glad that you're taking the steps to remove all his property. I came and I spoke and I said, we don't even know if the property is damaged. I'm glad you rejected the bid, because what if there's oil leaking in that property? I did file a complaint with the EPA, and if they find that oil, it has to be cleaned up first before it's rented out. So I applaud you and I thank you.
Thank you. That's it? Okay. Oh, hey. Thought we were done.
First of all, I would like to thank everyone who had some nice things to say about myself and the police department. But the reason I'm up here today is to formally thank the Hackensack Police Department, the members, the men and women of the Hackensack Police Department, for the job that they have done over the past year. changing the police department around has really been all about relationships. It's been about relationships with other law enforcement agencies. It's been relationships with the clergy, relationships with block watches, our ongoing relationship with the homeless shelter, and the people that are working hard there to work together with us, with the police department. But to talk about the police department and the job that they have done is tremendous. We changed uniforms. Our officers look excellent. They're out there every day. They're looking sharp. They're looking professional. They're acting professional. The arrests in the city are up, and the crime is down. The statistics are going to be coming out soon, which I'm going to share with the council, and the council is going to share with members of with the community. But to show what these men and women have been doing in the streets in Hackensack, the drug sweep was excellent. The job they did was excellent. They worked many hours on that, but every single day, members of that department have been working hard, especially the uniformed patrol officers that, individually, diligently patrol their posts. The narcotics detectives that have worked all throughout the year with other agencies to make this successful sweep that they did. Our detective division that is working on burglaries and working on robberies. The crime in Hackensack has been lowered across the board. And I'll just give you one example. The month of February, the city of Hackensack had no robberies and had one burglary. And I've been here, I've been a law enforcement officer for almost 36 years, and I don't think I've ever seen that. It's a tremendous accomplishment that our police department has made, and the compliments go directly to the men and women of this police department and the ongoing relationship that we're developing with the community. And I thank them.
Okay, seeing no one else, I'd like a motion to close the public session of the meeting.
I'll offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman. Aye. Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Okay, Mr. Battaglia, you have anything you'd like to say?
Thank you, everybody, for coming. I want to thank Mike for the wonderful job that he's doing, and the police department under his direction. I think is one of the big responsibilities we got as a city council is the security of the residents of the city. And I feel like the rest of the council that you can get home and all your jewelries and everything be there, because Mike and the rest of the police force, they're really doing a good job. Some resident called me and said, Leo, how come we see so many cops on the street now? I said, look, they are doing a wonderful job. You feel secure? He said, yes, I feel secure. So thank you, Mike, for the wonderful job that you are doing. Now, I just want to address the problem with that particular parent that he's complaining about the soccer programs and this and that. When he was complaining, I offered him uniform, soccer ball, the whole 9 yards. And that way he can do all the wonderful things that he said he can do. He never stepped to the plate. And in no way, as a coach, I can make everybody happy. If we got a traveler team, the best kid is the kid they're going to play. Recreation is for developers. When you go traveler, you got to use the best kid. His son was not one of the best kids. So it's nothing that I can do. You got to earn your position. You got to earn your position in the team. And I'm sorry that the kid never really developed. He said that he's a wonderful soccer player, so he should be working with his son. But when he used to go there, I was coaching his son, and he was on the phone for 2 hours. He never helped. He never want to even do anything for us in the recreation department. So I'm sorry, That's the only thing I have to say.
Deputy Mayor?
Okay, first, I'd also like to commend Police Director Mordaga, not only on the successful drug raid, but on bringing such pride back to our police department. Our young men and women of our police department deserve for us all to be so proud of them. They've earned it year after year, and under this leadership provided by Mike, just look at their faces and you can see it.
They're happy.
They're happy, and it makes everyone in the community proud, as we always have been in you, but the leadership, we see it on your faces now. You're proud to be part of it, and that's a great thing. And I'm really happy, Mike, that we talked you into 3 years with us, because, 1 year, look all Mike's gotten done and accomplished in 1 year. The next 3 years, I think we're really, our police department and everyone in the community is going to be very, very pleased and feel very comfortable with the police protection that we have, the wonderful police protection that we have. All right, Mr. Salkin, to try and answer a couple of your questions. All right, you referred, 2 questions I think you asked of me. One was about the city attorney billing, and I think you did allude to the fact that I talked, I think, at great length last time trying to explain it to you, but I'll try one more time and try and be briefer. You mentioned your concerns about, kind of a runaway train with the city attorney billing. And you said you obtained the bills, so you have them, and I know you looked at them, and you mentioned some huge amount. So I think if you look at those bills, I think you will see that more than 2/3 of those bills were for city attorney activities. And I think I told you in agonizing detail last time why we had to do some of the things we had to do. And the one thing that we put a control on, the one thing that we put a limitation on, was that portion of the bill, city attorney portion of the bill. We put a cap of $15,000 a month on that bill. So please give us the opportunity where we put a plan in place. We knew we had to invest in the beginning, and now we have a control mechanism in place to make sure that those bills are well within reason, and in fact, less than we were paying over the prior 4 years. My second question had to do with OPA requests and of legal bills. And you're absolutely right. As a so-called activist, if you'd like to call me that, over the past number of years, I was very interested and had lots of questions about the legal bills because we spent $8 million in 4 years here on legal bills. So it had to be a concern of anyone who had fiscal responsibility here within the city. And I'll tell you, Mr. Salkin, I never received a legal bill and an OPA request. When I asked for an OPA request, I was told of legal bills, to the detail that you're requesting, I was told that it would cost me thousands of dollars. And I couldn't afford thousands of dollars. So I never received a legal bill from the city through an OPA request. So then I figured, okay, I can't get the legal bills, so maybe I'll just ask for a list of them. Can you give me a list of the legal bills? Just a list of what they are, not any detail about them. And I was told, you can't have that either because we don't keep it as a list, so we cannot compile a list for you. So I became creative, and I found a way to obtain large volumes of data from the city that they kept that I could extract the legal bill information from. No detail, because that was not my concern. My concern was not the day-to-day activity, what is each attorney doing, what is their strategy, what is their plan. My interest was that in regard for fiscal responsibility within the city. How much were we paying in legal bills? Where was the control mechanisms in place? And I obtained that information that way. Now, we are very seriously, all of us, looking at the OPA process here in town because it's extremely expensive. And we're trying to look at it both ways. Yes, we want to provide as much information to the public as possible, as easy as possible. Absolutely. And secondly, we want to limit the costs associated with that. I mean, we're collecting some information. I think 1 week alone, the city clerk, just on OPA requests, the city clerk's office has spent in 1 week 36.5 hours processing OPA requests. Now, that's really a full-time person's amount of time just to process OPA requests. We have individuals who, one individual in 3 days, one individual alone submitted 10 OPA requests, 3 days. 10 OPA requests, some of them had 5 and 6 pieces to it. I mean, it's a tremendous burden. This information is yours to request. We're certainly looking into how we can provide that in a easier, more efficient, less expensive way. But it can't happen overnight. I'm sure, Mr. Salkin, you realize that the city owns and controls tremendous volumes of data. And we're certainly exploring many different options as how we can do this more efficiently and optimally.
Mayor, you're engaged me, and I know I guess I'm not supposed to speak because it's council. I'd be happy to continue the conversation after.
Absolutely, we can talk offline. How's that? Happy to talk to you later.
Thank you. Are you done?
Yes.
Mr. Sims?
Good evening. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. Last week, the Hackensack Police Department had one of its biggest drug sweeps ever. To my disbelief, a mother of a child impacted by the drug raid, who I have personally helped numerous times over the years, placed on Facebook a derogatory comment which put me and my family and friends' lives in danger. I was taken back by the comment. Dave Sims is a snitch. I was told that comes with being a councilman. I shook my head to that. Mike Madaga and I had a meeting with all the African American clergy of this town and informed them that the raid was coming and that they should tell their congregation, tell their children, friends, neighbors. That was about to go down. This doesn't reflect a snitch's action at all, if you ask me. This reflects someone who cares about his community and wanted to give fair warning to those who are not doing right. But to hide behind a computer and make a slanderous comment about the actions of a coward. If you have an issue, concern, or question regarding my actions, I would appreciate you reaching out to me directly. I am always available to speak to the community and address your concerns. I want to thank the Hackensack Police Department under the guidance of Mike Madaga and their effect as they pulled off this massive drug sweep. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Greenman?
Thank you so much. I think everybody spoke very well. I want to thank you, everyone, for coming. I want to commend our police department for a wonderful job. I want to thank you, Mike Mordaga, for great leadership. I think Kathy spoke very well, and I'm not going to belabor the same issue again. I think there is a lot to be done on Oprah requests. I think we're going to streamline it and put online as much as we can. I think it's just too labor intensive, and we have very, very experienced people doing the work, and it takes just an enormous amount. And you know, you're welcome to all the information that we can provide. We're going to try to streamline it and put it online as much as we can. So it's going to lessen our burden because the city cannot possibly afford to have a full-time person doing it week after week, fulfilling the Oprah requests. It's not a viable solution. I want to thank everyone for coming on this very cold weeknight. Thank you for your support. We always appreciate your support, and we appreciate everything that's being said, and even the negative comments, tell us that, we are doing the right thing and that people are afraid of us. And so that's a positive thing. Thank you so much, and be safe and stay well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Greenman. Okay. Try to keep it brief, but we have quite a few things to speak about tonight. I just wanted to let everybody know we're introducing the budget at a special meeting on March 11th at 5 o'clock, so put that down if you'd like to attend the introduction. I'm going to combine a couple of things. We'll talk about the drug bust and youth sports at the same time. Yeah, I coached for 20 years. I've known these guys coaching. I didn't know Dave that much, but I've known Leo coaching for years. The time that our youth sports coach dedicate and volunteer to this community is the biggest form of crime prevention you can possibly get. Okay? And the result of not having that is the other result we had in this city last week. A lot of those kids who did not get involved and did not participate in youth sports and other programs as far as the arts and everything else goes, is unfortunately, ended up, some of them in this drug sweep. The drug bust was a tremendous accomplishment. It was a long time in in the works. I mean, it was a 6 or 7 month ordeal putting this together with 5 different agencies. I was down there that morning. There were over 250 police officers involved in this. That's a tremendous undertaking. And it went like clockwork. There was not one incident, no injuries, nothing. And it was scheduled perfect. And my hat goes off. I want to thank of course, I want to thank Mr. Mordagan and definitely our police officers did a fantastic job. But I also have to reach out to the county prosecutor's office, the Bergen County Sheriff's Department, the DEA, and the state police who were also involved in this drug bust. The message was sent clearly that the city of Hackensack is not going to allow drug dealing in this town. We have too much at stake. We're moving forward. And for years, you always heard there is no drug problem in this town when so many of us knew different. And, if that's what you're told, sometimes that's what you buy and that's what you believe. But the problem's been here and now it's going away. So again, I want to thank everybody involved in that, officers, all the other agencies. Larry Riley, I want to thank, as far as Larry Riley goes, Larry Riley's been a longtime citizen of Hackensack. It was great how this turned out. I want to thank Steve and Kathy Salvo for stepping in and helping with that. Sometimes that's all it takes to help somebody is, you put a little time in and you pay it forward. Potholes, where, we actually went outside. We're not just using our guys for potholes this year. We did hire an outside company to help because there's so many. This is the worst I've ever seen. Probably due to the amount of salt we had to drop on the roads. The roads are just a mess. There's no doubt about it. We wish we could pave the whole city at one time, but it's just not possible. It's not feasible. But along with that, along with everything that's going on in town, once we, get the ratables going through some of this development, the ratables coming in from these projects will help to pay for some of this paving along with the grant money. So, we're looking forward to doing more and more paving every year if we can. And consent agenda. Mr. Sokin, I will definitely look into the law, but like it was said, the 4 years I was here before, they always had a consent agenda. They had a consent agenda before that.
Not before 2005, and don't think I didn't have this conversation with the prior city attorney.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. But that's something we will look into. If we have to read them all, we read them all. We want to abide by the law, and we will definitely see into it. Our form of government, as you know, is a little different than so many others. The Managers Act is totally different than most forms of government in the state of New Jersey. I think there's only 9 towns in the whole state that have this form of government, but we will look into it. And I guess that's it for the night, folks. Thank you. Have a safe trip home. Do we have to go to close now? There's nothing in close. No.
Okay,